I still don't know why I'm writing this. Maybe it's closure. Maybe it's a warning. Or maybe it's because telling strangers about your humiliation is somehow easier than admitting it to friends. Whatever the reason, it all started with one text. Friday afternoon. I was at my desk finishing up some reports when my fiancée, Natalie, messaged me. Working all weekend on a huge deadline. Can't be disturbed. I replied instantly. I understand. Good luck. Love you. That was it. For simple words that unknowingly gave her permission to vanish. We'd been together for years, engaged for one. Okay, picture-perfect couple, or at least that's what everyone said. We met in grad school. She was all energy and ambition. I was the steady type. Our differences worked, till they didn't. Her job in marketing often meant unpredictable hours, especially around campaign launches. So when she said she had to work the weekend, I didn't question it. She'd done it before. I figured I'd take it easy, catch up on my reading, maybe binge a show she hated. It was going to be a quiet, boring weekend, or so I thought. Saturday morning, I was halfway through my first coffee when I saw an email notification pop up on my laptop. The subject line froze me, concerned about Natalie. It was from her boss, David. My heart jumped. Was she hurt? Was there an accident? I opened the email. Hi, Mark. I hope this email finds you well. I'm reaching out because I'm a bit concerned about Natalie. She requested this weekend off several weeks ago for what she described as a family funeral out of state. I stopped reading. A family funeral? My pulse quickened. No one in her family had died I would have known. She'd told me she was working, not attending a funeral. I read the rest. David wanted her to confirm some changes to a client campaign and was worried he couldn't reach her. He ended the message with, "Please give her my condolences." My confusion turned into a chill. Why would Natalie lie to both of us, her boss and me, and about something that serious? I called her, straight to voicemail. I texted her, "Hey, your boss just emailed me. Everything okay?" No reply. The silence felt louder than any answer could. Out of instinct, I opened Instagram. I wasn't snooping, just checking. That's when I saw it. Her friend Kira had posted stories from what looked like a pool party. Sunlight, palm trees, bright blue drinks. And there, in the background of one clip, was Natalie laughing, carefree, wearing a swimsuit I'd never seen before. The tagged location? Lake Havasu, Arizona. We lived in Pittsburgh. My chest tightened. My fiancée wasn't tea-working. She wasn't grieving. She was at a pool party 2,000 miles away, and I had no idea why. As I stared at the screen, a sickening thought crept in. This wasn't just a small lie. It was an entire weekend built on one, and something told me it was only the beginning. I sat there in silence, staring at Kira's Instagram story like it was a crime scene photo. Natalie's smile looked genuine, effortless, almost glowing. It was the kind of happiness I hadn't seen from her in months. That alone told me more than I wanted to know. I replayed the clips, hoping I was wrong. Maybe it was old footage, or maybe it was some work retreat I didn't know about. But then I noticed the timestamp, posted 2 hours ago. Fresh, current, real. And then came the final blow. The tagged people. One name stood out. Matt Davis LV. I clicked his profile. Public account. Personal trainer from Las Vegas. Half his posts were shirtless gym selfies. The rest motivational quotes like hustle hard, love harder. And there, buried in his comments, were Natalie's likes, stretching back weeks. My stomach turned. She'd told me she was drowning in work. Meanwhile, she was liking thirst traps and posting heart emojis under some guy's fitness reels. I wasn't proud of what I did next, but heartbreak rarely makes you rational. I started taking screenshots, the email from David, Natalie's working all weekend text, Kira's pool party clips, the tagged photos with Matt. Every piece of evidence that confirmed what I didn't want to believe. In one photo, Natalie stood beside Matt, his arm casually draped around her waist. They looked comfortable. Caption read, "The crew for the weekend. No responsibilities." Ow. No responsibilities. That line hit like a punch. I stared at the screen for what felt like hours, alternating between disbelief and rage. She had lied to everyone, me, her boss, her coworkers. And for what? A weekend fling? A fantasy? Part of me wanted to call her immediately, demand an explanation. But another part, the colder, steadier one, stopped me. I realized if I confronted her now, she'd just lie again. She'd twist it into something misunderstood. I needed the truth to speak for itself. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I compiled everything, every screenshot, every timestamp into a single email, attached it all, and drafted a message to David. David, thank you for your concern. As you can see from the attached screenshots, there's no family funeral. Natalie appears to be at Lake Havasu this weekend. I was told she was working. I'm as surprised as you are. Regards, Mark. I stared at the send button for a full 30 seconds. My finger hovered, shaking slightly. Then I clicked it. The sound of the email swooshing away felt final, like a door closing on something I didn't even realize had ended. Then I turned off my phone, shut my laptop, and walked out the door. I didn't know where I was going, just that I couldn't sit there surrounded by her things, pretending we still had a future. 3 hours later, when I came back, my phone was blowing up. 20 missed calls, dozens of texts from Natalie, from Kira, even one from Matt. And that's when I realized. The fallout had officially begun. When I finally turned my phone back on, the notifications nearly froze the screen. It buzzed nonstop for a full minute, Natalie's name lighting up again and again, like an alarm I couldn't shut off. Her messages started calm enough. Hey, why did you email my boss? Then came the shift. You've ruined my career, followed by please just talk to me. I can explain everything. Classic pattern, anger, panic, then desperation. Kira's texts came next. What the hell, Mark? Why are you stalking my Instagram? Then another minutes later. Look, I didn't know she told you she was working. That's between you two. Translation. I got caught too. Don't drag me into this. Even Matt chimed in. Hey man, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Natalie said, you guys were on a break. A break, right? I laughed out loud, an empty, bitter sound that echoed in the quiet apartment. I didn't respond to any of them, not one. Instead, I texted my brother, can I crash at your place for a few days? He replied within seconds. Of course. Come over. I grabbed a duffel bag, tossed in clothes, my laptop, and left enough food and water for our cat. I didn't even look around before locking the door. The apartment felt tainted, like every memory had been rewritten overnight. The next few days were a blur of silence and reflection. Ignored Natalie's calls, but she didn't stop. Voicemails piled up, her voice breaking, alternating between tears and anger. You didn't have to tell my boss, she sobbed in one. You humiliated me. Maybe I did, but she'd humiliated us both. By the 4th day, she showed up at my brother's place. I heard the knock and instantly knew. I stepped outside before she could make a scene. Her eyes were swollen, makeup smudged, and her voice trembled. Can we please talk? I nodded, mostly out of exhaustion. We sat on the steps in awkward silence. Finally, she said it. The line, every cheater thinks we'll fix everything. I made a mistake. I didn't respond. She kept talking. It didn't mean anything. I was just lost. I didn't know how to tell you I wasn't happy. I looked at her and said quietly, so you lied to your boss about a funeral? Lied to me about work? Flew across the country for a pool party with a guy you met in Vegas. That's not being lost, Natalie. That's being selfish. She broke down crying. I didn't comfort her. I'd done enough of that over the years. I stood up, said you should go, and walked back inside. For the first time in years, I felt completely numb, but also strangely clear. This wasn't just the end of our relationship. It was the beginning of me finally seeing the truth. Didn't take you should go as final. 2 days later, she showed up again, this time at our apartment while I was grabbing the last of my things. Her energy was different now, less apologetic, more desperate. She stood in the doorway, arms crossed. You embarrassed me at work, she said sharply. Do you have any idea what you've done? I closed a box and looked up slowly. Do you have any idea what you've done? You faked a funeral, Natalie? Her face twitched. I panicked. Okay? I just wanted one weekend to breathe. I set the box down. Could have said you needed space. You could have told me the truth. But instead, you lied to everyone, and you didn't even cover your tracks. She sighed, pacing like a caged animal. It wasn't supposed to go that far. Matt's just, he's fun. I needed to feel alive again. That line snapped something in me. Alive? I repeated. You needed to feel alive, So you destroyed everything we built. She stopped pacing. Didn't destroy it, Mark. You did when you emailed my boss. It was cruel. For a second, I almost laughed at the absurdity. Cruel? I said quietly. You lied about a family death, cheated, and still think I'm the villain? She looked away, jaw tight. You didn't have to ruin my job. You could have talked to me first, I exhaled. You would have talked your way out of it. Will like. Finally, she muttered, I can't undo what happened. I nodded. Neither can I. She wiped her eyes, mascara streaking. So what now? I already spoke to the landlord, I said. You can stay until the lease ends. I'll keep paying my half until we find someone to take it over. Then I'm out. Her shoulders dropped. That's it? That's it. When I walked past her toward the door, she grabbed my arm. Mark, please, she whispered. We were supposed to get married. I turned to face her, seeing the woman I'd loved, and realizing I didn't recognize her anymore. No, I said quietly. We were supposed to be honest. Marriage was just the plan. This is who you chose to be. She let go. I picked up my bag and left without another word. Later that evening, I got an email from David. He thanked me again for bringing everything to light. I'll handle things professionally, he wrote, but personally, I hope you find peace. You did the right thing. It wasn't satisfaction I felt, just exhaustion. I hadn't won anything. I'd simply escaped a lie I didn't realize I was living in. The week after I walked out felt like stepping into a silence I didn't know how to fill. No more late-night texts, no coffee brewing in the morning, no Natalie humming while getting ready. Just an empty apartment, and the sound of my own thoughts echoing back. At first I thought I'd feel free, like I'd escaped something toxic. But what hit me instead was disbelief. 3 years together, and I never saw the cracks. Or maybe I just didn't want to. Friends started reaching out after the story spread at work. Some were shocked. Others admitted they'd seen red flags long ago. She always flirted to Qley, one friend said. We just didn't want to tell you. That stung. David kept his word. A few days later, HR called me to confirm Natalie had resigned. No drama, no public spectacle, just a quiet exit. It was almost poetic, how the woman who once needed to be seen now vanished without a trace. But her disappearance didn't end the whispers. People speculated, blamed, pitied. Some even called me cold for exposing her. Maybe they were right, maybe it was ruthless. But when someone burns your trust that completely, mercy stops feeling noble. Then one night she texted, I miss you. I stared at the screen for a long time, 6 words, and suddenly my chest tightened like it used to. Old habits don't die easy. I typed and deleted 3 different replies before settling on, I don't miss who you became. Then I blocked her number. 2 days later, her mom called. Mark, please talk to her, she pleaded. She's a mess. I listened quietly and said, I hope she finds peace. But I can't be the person to fix her. There was a long pause before her mom sighed. You always were too kind for your own good. That night, I walked past the restaurant where we had our first date. It was closed, lights off, chairs stacked. For some reason, that hit harder than anything else. It felt symbolic, like even the memories were done waiting for us. I started journaling then, not to make sense of it, but to make peace with it. Writing became the only way to stop replaying the same moments in my head. The lies, the confrontation, the silence afterward, all of it poured onto paper, like I was exorcising a ghost. Every time I finished a page, I reminded myself, I didn't lose someone loyal. I just made space for honesty. By the time the first month ended, I wasn't angry anymore, just clearer. Sometimes the storm doesn't destroy you, it just washes off the illusion you've been living under. Still, I had no idea the story wasn't quite finished yet. Because a few weeks later, something unexpected happened that changed how I saw everything. It's been half a year since everything went down, and my life feels like it finally belongs to me again. I didn't expect peace to look like this: quiet mornings, new hobbies, and no more guessing if someone's being honest with me. At first I thought moving on meant finding someone new, but I realized I didn't need to fill the space she left. I needed to understand why I allowed her to take so much of me in the first place. Healing wasn't about revenge or replacement, it was about clarity. One night, I got an unexpected message request on social media. It was from Natalie. The profile picture was gone, and the message simply said, "I'm sorry for everything. You're the best thing that ever happened to me." I didn't reply. Not out of spite, but because I truly didn't have anything left to say. The chapter was closed. A week later, I ran into her old coworker, who told me Natalie had moved back to her hometown and was living with her parents trying to rebuild. I didn't feel joy or pity, just relief. Everyone ends up facing their choices eventually. Meanwhile, I'd taken a promotion at work and started traveling again. I visited places I'd always postponed because I thought we'd go someday. Now, someday was mine to claim. I met new people, but I didn't rush anything. When conversations turned to love, I was honest about where I'd been, how trust wasn't something I gave freely anymore, but something I'd learned to protect. And surprisingly, that honesty drew the right kind of people in. The biggest twist came last month when I found the old notebook where Natalie and I used to plan our future trips, wedding venues, dream apartments. I almost threw it away, but instead I flipped through it. Every page was filled with her handwriting, promises and plans that never happened. Then, on the last page, in my own handwriting, I'd written something I didn't even remember. If she ever leaves, let her go. It felt like a message from the version of me who somehow knew I'd need reminding. So that's what I've done: let go. Not with bitterness, but with acceptance. Some people aren't meant to walk your whole journey. They're just there to teach you where you stand. I used to think closure came from apologies or explanations, but now I know it's when you stop needing them. Natalie wanted to explore her options. I hope she found what she was looking for. As for me, I found something better. Sometimes the real revenge isn't showing how much you've moved on. It's realizing you don't have to prove it to anyone at all. And that's where my story ends. It's because for once I'm not chasing what's gone. I'm finally living what's next. If you've made it this far, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.